We've got a plurality of sensor systems watching the planet right now. Satellite imagery, radar from orbit, every commercial flight, every ship on the ocean, public camera, social media feeds. Each captures a sliver of what's happening. And until recently, only the people with security clearances or the budgets to match could fuse them all together. AI agents have changed all that. A living, breathing picture of the planet is not just possible now, it is inevitable. And the proof is in the pudding. Since I first showed you guys God's eye view and how I made it, so many of you have been sending me your own builds. Personal geospatial dashboards, threat tracking rigs, mission briefing boards, the same recipe in your own hands, building your own picture of the world. And that recipe started here. I initially built this over a weekend from my couch. One person, a stack of APIs, and my army of AI agents doing the work that used to take an entire team months. And it was enough to spark reactions from a few interesting people.
It's like being shared by all these people. Oh yeah, I vibe coded Palantir. Like, we're replacing everything. Palantir's going down. I'm like, no, I think low-end SaaS is in trouble the next few years. Like, that's the reality, right? Not the hard company.
So Palantir's co-founder was basically making the case that the only thing AI is really putting at risk is low-end SaaS right now. Companies like Palantir, on the other hand, are safe. But then this came in from Jason. He's former DARPA, former Lockheed Martin, someone who's actually been on the inside of the kind of moats that Joe was talking about. Then in parallel, people from major defense contractors and defense tech startups started reaching out. Turns out they've got immaculate sensor systems, but are aching for a better way to fuse it all together. But here's the part that may matter more than any of those reactions. The same time that the defense world started circling, journalists started reaching out too. The fourth estate, the press, the public interest watchdog, saying, this is the kind of tool they've always needed. The dichotomy was clear to me. This was simultaneously surveillance and surveillance. Now, surveillance is what powerful institutions do when they look down at people. Surveillance is what people do when they look back up at power. Now, the tools for that only ran in one direction, until now. The version of this where reporters, researchers, and individual citizens can see what only governments and contractors used to see, that is a different kind of world. That world is the one we're walking into, and this video is a tour of it. But first, let me back up and tell you how I got here. These days, I'm mapping the frontier of creation and computing. I've got about 1.5 million subscribers across all my channels. And the thing I'm building most seriously right now is what I'm about to show you. But the through line started long before any of this. I grew up across India, the UK, and the US. But the part that mattered the most started in Chandigarh. When I was 11 years old, I fell in love with computer graphics. I was making these dorky flash animations at the time, and then I saw a TV show called Mega Movie Magic. And I suddenly realized the same computer that I was using to make these cartoony visuals could create imagery that was indistinguishable from reality. That to me was the hook, and that obsession became a self-taught skill set. Suddenly, I was an expert in computer graphics and visual effects in my teens. But as I got older, I became obsessed with the technical side of things. My obsession for computer graphics turned into computer vision. My obsession for visual effects turned into augmented and virtual reality. And that foundational theme followed me for the next decade. Computer graphics and VFX taught me to blend a small piece of imagination into a small piece of reality. But the world is the ultimate canvas. And the next move was doing the same thing at the scale of the entire planet. When I was at Google working on the Maps team, creating something like God's Eye View was a tall order. Like a single feature update could take teams of engineers months to pull off. Building an entire Fuse sensor platform in a couple of days by yourself was not on the table. But that's exactly what we were working towards back then. I was the product lead for Google's 3D model of the world, shipping things like Google Maps Immersive View, the AR Core Geospatial API, and even the 3D Tiles API much of this work is based on. I work directly with Cesium to get Google's amazing 3D data out into the wild in an open format. And the reason we made it open was a part of that bigger dream. That one day a small team or even a solo dev could get their hands on a global 3D dataset and build on top of it. And today, with the rise of AI agents, that technical barrier that existed even a few years ago is completely gone. When I was on the platform side of this at Google, the hope was we'd let 1,000 flowers bloom. Now I get to not only build my own flower, but inspire a garden of interesting flowers. The hardest part of all of this used to be mapping the world itself. That takes infrastructure. You need satellites, fleets of airplanes and cars. But Google has mapped the world for us. The canvas already exists. Now, it's a matter of what you choose to paint on top of it. And this is the part I want you to sit with for a second. For so many decades, the ability to see the physical world clearly, to know what's actually happening on the ground, belonged to a handful of nation states and the corporations that served them. The intelligence picture was a one-way mirror. Then technology changed the equation. The same signals that intelligence agencies process at scale, satellites, ships, planes, radio, video, social, those are now things that a single person with a laptop can fuse together. The intelligence monopoly is broken, and this video is about what falls out. There is now a treasure trove of publicly available data just sitting out there. None of it is individually novel. What's novel is fusing it all together into a single picture. And that's the fusion that required a dev team to pull off. Now you can unleash your swarm of AI agents at the data streams of your choice, and you can build the system you've been imagining. Don't get me wrong, domain expertise still matters. You have to know what to ask for and guide the AI around pitfalls. But the execution layer is right at your fingertips. With the first iteration of God's Eye View, you can do things like see exactly which spy satellites were overhead at the moment before and after a strike. Watch commercial flights reroute around airspace closures before the news even catches up. Catch massive tankers going dark on their AIS tracking mid-voyage to sneak through the Strait of Hormuz. Pull live CCTV feeds for actual ground truth. Scrub through all the events in an area over a 24-hour period. And heck, you can even align 3D Gaussian splats to their physical location for a photorealistic ground level view. And if you're not in the OSINT world, here's the thing that most people miss. Intelligence isn't just about seeing the hidden thing. It's actually about seeing what's missing. When flights go dark or GPS goes dark, that hole in the map is intelligence. In the OSINT world, what disappears tells you as much as what appears. And the GPS jamming itself, we didn't need classified sensors to see that electronic warfare. I was able to map it from the GPS degradation of commercial airliners. You can literally turn the global fleet of airplanes into a distributed, unwitting sensor network. And look, in many cases, the data is still the moat. The players were the crown jewel of all these datasets. The Palantirs, the Primes, the three-letter agencies, they absolutely have an edge. That is real, and I'm not going to pretend otherwise. But what I'm showing here is what's already publicly available. This is open and commercial data that's accessible to anyone who wants to fuse it. And let me tell you, it is enough to build a remarkably complete picture of the world. So if a weekend of work on open layers gets you this far, you can start to imagine what becomes possible when proprietary data comes online too. It is thus no surprise that the Office of the Director of National Intelligence and the Central Intelligence Agency has their own open source intelligence strategy, one that they issued in the year 2024. And think about it, there's a million other layers that you could be working with. And the best part is you don't need permission. You don't even need my code. I can just give you the recipe and your AI agents are smart enough to take it from there. Point them at my Substack post or my YouTube video and tell them what to fuse and they will figure it out. And guess what? People have already started doing it. Earlier, I mentioned so many of you have been building your own version of Worldview and God's Eye View. Let me actually walk through some of them so you can see how far it's already gone. So Shadow Broker is this community-built globe that fuses a bunch of these public data feeds, right? The sheer number of feeds and modularity of this one is insane. And you can even personalize and tailor it to your needs, like plug in your own API keys for synthetic aperture radar imagery. Here's another 3D globe where you can visualize nuclear sites, conflicts, flights, seismic activity, news, all with this rotating ticker of AI commentary. Next is Ultor by this dev named Sequoia, who said this would have taken him forever to do if not for the fact that I gave the formula away, so he could focus on the fun stuff. Here's another talented dev that was inspired to build Worldwide View, and it's open source if you want to run it yourself or pay for the cloud-hosted version. And then there are more. State of US and World Politics. This thing fuses live prediction markets with real-time conflict casualty data and a continuous news pipeline. And then Goldrock AI Labs were inspired to build their own God's Eye that they shared on X. Another developer named Lars built his own 4D worldview in Cesium using Gemini, and then wrote about it online. He credits my weekend builds as his inspiration. And gosh, there's so many other projects that I couldn't include in this video. In other words, this is happening. The tools have never been more accessible. Start doing it, because it is not a question of if something like this gets built anymore. It's a question of when will it be built and who will build it. Now there are two windows that I'm personally building towards. One is a window to the world, and the other is the window to your world. Essentially two scales of surveillance, looking up at power and seeing your own world clearly. The first window is God's Eye View, and I asked the community to vote on this, and the answer is clear. V1 is going to be open source, just like you asked for. You'll be able to take it, fork it, run your own version, build on top of it. The link is in the description. V2 is being built from the ground up as a proper product. It's cleaner, it's faster, more sensor coverage that one weekend gives you, and a bunch of paid APIs. So if you want access, the waitlist is in the link below as well. The second window is Argus, the window to your world. The same fusion approach applied to all your own data sets, your own CCTV cameras, sensors, and data streams. So you can get a unified operational picture of everything that matters to you. Owned by you, controlled by you. Nobody else gets access unless you share. I built the prototypes by myself, but now I've got an actual team helping me build it from the ground up. And we're passionate about connecting the world of bits and atoms, making the unseen seen, building the tools that let anyone, whether you're a researcher, creative, analyst, investor, point a lens at the physical world and see it clearly. So if you've got the ambition and a desire to do this kind of work, the link is below to get in touch with us. We've had maps that show us a static picture of the world. What's emerging now is a living, breathing model of reality. So I just want to wrap up by thanking the organizers of this event for having me on. It's wild, right? Like today, the distance between Chandigarh and Mountain View feels a lot closer than it used to. The tools that took people decades to learn and a Google engineering team to ship are now sitting on a laptop or heck, the phone in your pocket, available for any of you that choose to use them. All the OSINT data already exists, and many other proprietary data streams waiting to be fused together. So go out there and build the window to your world. Thank you very much.